Jalen Rieger getting traded to Minnesota changes nothing.
6'4" guys running 4.4s. These guys don't grow on trees. And a lot of times I'm willing to bet on, especially long term, on the freak athlete.
You don't ever want to overreact to what guys look like in preseason. There's been a ton of preseason all-stars that never make rosters or never pan out. Good evening, Belly Up Fantasy Live. How we all doing out there? Excellent. It is Wednesday. It is Fantasy Championship weekend for most leagues across the world. And we are set to look at Week 17 here in the NFL and try and mine some points out of that for those of us who are still alive in any league, whether you're in a championship game, championship round, a semifinal round, or hopefully if neither of those, maybe you're still alive in the losers bracket or consolation bracket to be more polite.
Yeah, hopefully you're staying out of the toilet bowl. So we're here to help that not happen to you.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome in everybody. I am Chase Thornton coming to you from the Mott and Bailey Basement Bar. With me, as per usual, Kevin Wilson down there in Texas, freezing his ass off. How we doing, dude? What's it like?
We're doing good, and I'm still jazzed about the Belly Up Super Show that was on last night.
Good stuff.
I was a good part of that, and so if once we get done here, if you haven't checked that out, as we talked about college football for a little over an hour, and then the football heavies, pro style came in. And so there's a lot of information. Of course, this weekend's all the big college football bowl games. And so we talked about a lot of stuff. So if you haven't checked that out, get to the Belly Up website, go over there, check it out, and just get over there.
That's right. No, a lot of great stuff on there. A lot of great Belly Up personalities, some fun guests as well on that. Good stuff. So check that out after you sign off with us tonight.
We're on, do that after.
Oh no, hell no. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, you got to be here for this, but
that's right.
Check that out. If you didn't see it last night, check out Kevin and the boys, everybody over there. Good stuff. Great stuff.
There was a lot of guys that I got introduced to last night. So it was quite the show.
There you go. All right. How's what's the weather like down there in Texas, dude? I mean, your power grid hasn't failed yet, has it?
No. We survived through the 8 degrees and all that stuff, and it's clear out there, and we got to the 40s, maybe the 50s today, and so we're living large over here for that. So we weren't stuck at any snowbanks or any of that stuff, and weren't trying to fly around.
Not like Buffalo, man. Those people can't catch a break over there, quite literally.
No.
Oh man, that got bad.
Sure can't. So if you're over there in the Northeast, Andrew's way up there, and hopefully you're sitting in a warm house right now watching us, and so all the breaks.
Andrew doesn't want to poke his head out anyway. He is pissed and depressed after the last several developments in New England, but
that's what I'm saying. Prayer closet's still open for him if he needs it.
Counting on his red, white, and blue beads. All right. It's cold. I literally have not stepped foot outside the house since Friday. I kind of hunkered in for Christmas, and we've been, playing with toys and reading books and everything else that we got for Christmas. My boys, the upstairs.
There you go.
House, this is my sanctuary right now because it's the same as it always is down here in the bar. I've got everything I want, but other 2 floors of my house right now are completely covered in basically rainbow plastic pieces from all manner of games and toys and everything else. So we're going to let the boys sort through that and swim through that for another day or two before I try and dig my way out of that. But it is fantasy championship week in most leagues right now, week 17. And things are starting to get interesting around the league, man.
They are.
I put a tweet out earlier. I mean, you look at, there was some crazy news that came out today with Derek Carr and now Carson Wentz is going to be the starter. But man, just if you look down the line, there is literally fully half of the league right now has a completely effed up quarterback situation compared to what they had week 1 of this season. Literally half the league, 16 teams, are either starting guys that were their backups or were not their opening day starter for whatever reason. Now, like in Cleveland, we know Watson wasn't their opening day starter. He would have been, but he wasn't.
Right.
And so the point of it is, the whole idea of it is it's still one team out there that is not got the same situation at quarterback that they had opening day. The Commanders have gone back to their opening day starter in Carson Wentz. Weirdly enough, in the middle of a hard playoff fight right now, they are fighting for their playoff lives right now, and they're going away from the guy that basically gave them the spark this season in Taylor Heineke and going back to Carson Wentz. I mean, you've got Colt McCoy. Let me just run down the line here real quick.
Yes.
Get into some of this a little more in depth. Tomorrow night, you've got Malik Willis is going to be starting over Ryan Tannehill. In fact, the Titans have come out with a whole list of guys.
I saw that.
Not playing tomorrow night.
You definitely need some reading glasses to read all those names because they're quite a few.
It's like the Reader's Digest, version of their roster. But Derrick Henry is also, doubtful to play tomorrow night.
Doubtful usually means don't play.
I mean, it sucks because you're talking running back 4 in a whole league. But you're also talking about the fantasy championship. You need to know that guy's going to play. Even if Henry gets the start, what's he going to play? A series or two? We know that game doesn't mean anything. And we'll get into this later because that's the first game we're going to be previewing today. But this game doesn't mean anything to the Titans. It's all about next week versus the Jaguars. Winner next week takes the division, goes to the playoffs. Loser, in all likelihood, goes home. So there's nothing really to play for this week other than health and maybe if you want to try and get yourself on a roll. But Malik Willis going to be starting over Ryan Tannehill. Willis did look a little bit better last week than he had in his first couple of starts.
Well, that's not saying a whole lot.
No, right? Like I've said it before, you and I probably look. I'm maybe not as mobile as Willis anymore, but I can still run for a fat old guy. Colt McCoy has cleared concussion protocol. He looks like he'll start over Trace McSorley for Arizona. On the other side of the field, that same game, you've got Desmond Ridder with a whole weird. If you watched that game
Marcus against Mariota. Tampa the other day, that's not bad news for Arizona.
No, not at all. McSorley did not look. And to be fair, he's their third string. He's a third string quarterback for a reason.
He's fourth.
Better than the vast majority of humanity at throwing a football. Not one of the top 64 quarterbacks in this league.
No, that's Desmond when you're going fishing and hope you don't pull in an old tire. That's about what that is.
Desmond Ridder will be starting for Atlanta. We know he's the starting quarterback for the rest of their season. Marcus Mariota is out, injured, away from the team, whatever the hell that days of our lives ended up being. Further down the line here, Tua Tagovailoa has another concussion, suffer one last week. They came out today and admitted today against the Packers. So Teddy Bridgewater's the guy there. There's a lot of talk about Tua, like they need to shut his ass down. I don't know.
When you're talking about the noggin, you don't want to mess around with the noggin.
No, he's a young man. Let's be honest. All these guys are young men. To be dead honest, even Tom Brady's not an old man. He's old by football standards. He's not an old man. These are young men, and you're talking about the rest of their lives. We've seen countless guys. The other day was just Demaryius Thomas's like 34th or 35th birthday. That dude could still be playing in the league, should still be playing in the league, and he's gone. You're talking about young men here. Yeah, you don't want to mess around with the head, with neck, those kinds of things. But I don't have a good answer for it because Tua's a good quarterback. He's a professional football player, but at this point, he looks like he's concussion
and they're fighting
prone.
For their playoff lives.
They are also playing exactly. They are playing for their playoff lives too. Now they are on the outside looking in. They're trailing.
As is the Packers. Your Packers have got themselves back in the playoff.
They got themselves back in. I'm feeling pretty good about. Honestly, I feel good about
for a team that lost. What was it? 4 games earlier in a row, or whatever it was. 5 games, whatever it was.
Yeah, they were at one point. They were like 4-8. They were terrible. They're still not great, but they're playing better football now. They look like they've finally gotten themselves on the same page as each other.
Right. And fortunately for them, they have Minnesota at home, which helps.
I like the idea. They need to win out. They can technically do it without winning out, but they need to win out in all likelihood. In all honesty, they need to. If they win out, I feel good about the idea of Washington losing one of their last two games here for the Packers to get in. So, I'd rather be sitting where Green Bay is than a lot of other teams who are on the outside looking in right now. But Indianapolis is going to be starting Nick Foles again, despite a lackluster performance the other day. They're going to start him over Matt Ryan and Sam Ellinger. New Orleans has Andy Dalton. He did not start the year as their starting quarterback. Obviously, he's been their starting quarterback most of the year. But that, like I said, it's another situation where it's different from opening weekend. Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts wants to play is all the report. It's looking increasingly doubtful that he will play. They don't necessarily need him to. There has to be a lot of things go wrong for them to lose out on the number one seed. And if you've got the number one seed and number one offense, one of the number one offensive weapons in the entire game at quarterback, you want that dude healthy. I don't know that they play him, so I didn't even rank him this way. I have an issue.
You never want to lose to the Cowboys if you're a Philadelphia, Eagle.
Right.
But the fact that they put 34 points on the Cowboys with Gardner Minshew, got to give them some. Yeah, that's got to give them some, some confidence.
You've got a ton of great weapons. Forward.
He threw for 355 yards in that game.
Brown, Smith, Watkins, Sanders. They're 87 backup running backs. Yeah, they've got weapons. Minshew is one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league, I think. Anyway, yeah, there's no reason to rush him back. No,
and the Cowboys' pass defense is supposed. We'll talk about that later too. But
because we are going to get to because they're our first game up for when we get to the games here in a few minutes. But you've got Sam Darnold starting in Carolina. That's different from opening week. Obviously, Baker Mayfield is no longer even there. PJ Walker, they've been through that.
He's as far away as you can get from Carolina and still be in America.
Right. And he's actually reversed his fortunes 180 degrees from Carolina as well, in my opinion. Cleveland, we already talked about, they're starting Watson. He obviously is their first choice, but he wasn't available week one. But then on the other side, we talked about, we've got Wentz starting over Heineke in the middle of a playoff fight. Riverboat Ron Rivera, but come on, dude. You're gambling a lot there, taking away the guy that was the spark. I get the in-game thing that happened last week or whatever. Fine. But man, that seems like a pretty risky move to be putting in Carson Wentz over the guy that I think the team seems like they play for.
Right.
San Francisco, obviously starting Brock Purdy. He's their third option, Mr. Irrelevant. He was everybody's third, fourth, 17th option. Nobody wanted him until San Francisco pulled the trigger. But now he's starting and looking good, playing well.
He's looking really good. And if he plays well again, you could safely say that guy is a league winner.
Yeah, he could be. If you were panicking, because especially like we're talking about it right now, all the quarterback chaos going on.
Especially if you're in a 2-quarterback league.
It's a good bet that if you've made it this far, if you're still alive in the winner's side of the bracket, if you're still alive at this point, it's a safe bet you had one of the safer quarterbacks, Allens and the Mahomes and whatever. But if you somehow made it to this point and you did lose your starting guy, you lost your Kyler Murray or whatever.
Which I did.
You lost to whatever. Yeah, exactly. White. Purdy's a guy who you may have picked up or maybe still can pick up that might bail you out. So, that's a good look there. Other side of the field, we just kind of brought it up, but Jarrett Stidham is going to start over Derek Carr. What the flying F is going on with that? Now there's a report that comes out. You got to
reevaluate all the Raiders skill players with that information.
Now, I put a tweet out a little bit earlier, too. I said, listen, with Bridgewater starting over Tua, that sucks on championship weekend, but don't overthink it. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are still too good to not play. You start your studs. Tyreek Hill he still runs faster than most of the cars in the parking lot. So, you're starting him. Jalen Waddle is still a top 10 receiver as well. He's a guy that doesn't need a ton of touches to have a big impact, big fantasy day. We saw it last week against Green Bay. Didn't have a ton of catches, but had a good game, great game. I said this, I'm saying the same thing a little bit with Los Angeles, just in terms of Derek Carr or not Derek Carr, Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. I'm downgrading Waller a little bit with Stidham in there, but Adams is too good for you to overthink it and think, oh man, I'm going to start Chris Moore over Devontae Adams this week, or I'm going to start someone from New England over. No, you're freaking not. Please don't.
Yeah, please don't do that. Josh Jacobs had over 200 yards in a game this year, so
right. And they may need to lean on him with a guy who's never started it.
Yeah,
Stidham's played 12 games, I think, in his career and never started one. Yeah.
From what I heard, that Derek Carr left the facility.
That report just came out about 2.5, 3 hours ago, I want to say. But Carr is actually stepping away from the team.
So it's not
rest
like
of the
if
regular
you're-
season.
Stedham or whatever his name is fails, you don't got Carr to bring in.
They got some practice squad call up. Garner. I don't even remember. There you go. That's how great their backup quarterback situation is right now.
Hopefully that's not where we have to head on championship week.
But yeah, I mean, we just had the weird Marcus Mariota situation happen in Atlanta. Now we've got Derek Carr, who's literally walking away from the team in the last 2 weeks. It doesn't look like his future's long there. How is that going to affect Adams' psyche when Adams, one of the stated reasons why he left or wanted out of Green Bay was because he wanted to play with his friend Derek Carr, and he's had a good year. Devontae Adams has had a very good year with Derek Carr at quarterback. He's one of the few, but and that team fell apart. But they are still, when they show that graphic every Sunday and Thursday and Sunday and Monday when we watch TV, and they show who's in the playoffs, who's in the wild card, who's on the bubble, lurking, hanging around, stalking, whatever the hell they call it, because they all started playing around with that term now. It's no longer in the hunt. It's always something else. The Raiders are still mathematically and technically alive. They're the last team alive in the AFC, but they are still alive for a playoff spot. And the offensive genius, and I'll use that term loosely, Josh McDaniels is freaking with his quarterback situation.
Don't you have to question that you're starting this guy going up against the 49er defense?
That just adds another layer of what
got to be one of the sillier things I've ever heard. That's not the defense you want to start your game.
No, you don't want to. No, you don't want to start. No, you don't want to start anybody again. You don't want to play them, let alone start a backup rookie that's never, or not rookie technically, but a guy that essentially is a rookie because he's never started before.
Him until his eyes bleed.
Mike White looks like he's cleared his injury. And they have already announced that Zach Wilson will not be active Sunday.
Hopefully Ryan, will go easy on my Seahawks this week if he would please do that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see with that.
So you talk about the bottom falling out. The bottom has completely disengaged from the Seahawks.
What was the stat? But they were, whatever it was, 6-3 or whatever the hell it was before they went to Germany. They come back and they won one game. They left their mojo in freaking Frankfurt.
Maybe the mojo got left on the tarmac in Germany. So
left something over there anyway. But so White's going to play over Wilson. Obviously, Baker Mayfield started in the Rams.
Right there. So.
Was that?
Even though his name is Wilson, I'm sorry. Quit embarrassing my last name. So stay on the sideline, if you would please.
Yep. What a bizarre situation with a quarterback.
Right.
BS that they've gone through in New York all year.
Another Wilson on that team.
But
Garrett
they're right
Wilson
there.
Look ordinary. So.
But they are still right there for the playoffs.
Two Wilson names, so we can't have that.
Obviously, like we said, Baker Mayfield starting in LA. That's as the Rams travel across the stadium to face their neighbors in the Chargers.
Isn't that
Rams
the most
at Chargers?
Grossly unfair thing that you have a road game in your own stadium?
Well, yeah, and for the Chargers standpoint, they get a home game against the home team. So, yay, great, right?
Right.
That's not even like Buffalo playing in Detroit or whatever. At least you were in neutral territory, and you never know who was walking in the door cheering for who. You had a bunch of Lions fans walking in the door cheering for no one who played for anybody on either side of that game. Kenny Pickett is still back and is still starting over Trubisky in Pittsburgh. Looks like Lamar Jackson will probably not make it back this week. So we've also got Tyler Huntley giving it one more go there. That's literally, I mentioned 16 teams, literally half the league with a flipped up quarterback situation due to either injury or performance issues or coaching ineptitude, for lack of a better term for it, because I have no idea what the hell Washington and Las Vegas are thinking. Half the league has a screwed up quarterback situation right now, and it's championship weekend. And where the hell are we going to find any stability?
To get us over the hump? So, when it comes to one of my teams, if Tom Brady would stop, slamming the brakes on, that would be nice, because he's done everything the last 2 weeks to prevent me from advancing But
He's old, man. He's tired.
I understand he's old and everything else.
Any longer than he has.
Right, and he needs some Red Bulls on the sidelines, whatever it might be. But despite all that, I am in fact in the championship.
Attaboy.
And I took down Dale. Remember, he was on an episode.
Yes, I do remember Dale. Dale's a good guy.
He said, "Oh, I want you to win the first round matchup, so me and you could go at it." I beat that, and then I went toe to toe with him, and I absolutely just took him down.
Woo.
So 210
Dale.
163. So
there you go. I am in one championship. I had a better year last year probably than I did this year. Last year I made 4 championships and took home 3. Or I made 4 championship games. I took home three rings. This year I'm still in one. I'm in a lot of third place games. Great.
Right.
But top 3 is better than bottom 3. So
I'm in 4. I'm in 4 leagues. I'm not like you that play, 88,
20.
leagues, whatever. Yeah. But 4 leagues. I'm in 2 championship games. So I think 50% is pretty good average. And
batting 500. Hell yeah, man.
Batting 500.
You have a record in your other sport.
Yeah. So the charity league is not going well because I've got Wilson as my number 2 quarterback. So that is way off the beaten trail right there. So
yeah, I like I said, I've said that before. I took a lot of chances in that league, and I bit the bullet hard on that. There will be an update on that coming out tomorrow.
This year is don't draft any quarterbacks named Wilson. Right?
That's no nepotism
of this year's fantasy season.
I think I only have Tyquan Thornton in maybe one dynasty league. I
have him in one dynasty league as well, and he's never made it off the taxi squad.
Yeah, right. I have him in one dynasty league. He's given me a handful of receptions all year. But yeah, this quarterback situation just weird. Like we said, we've said it before. This is the time of year you got to watch to see who is actually playing, who's resting. It doesn't look to me. I haven't heard anything about Jacksonville trying to rest guys. I think they want to go into next week with momentum. Jacksonville is in a little bit better shape than the Titans, where Jacksonville is actually still alive for not just the division, but they are still alive for a wild card spot as well. So Jacksonville does have something to actually play for this weekend. I don't expect Trevor Lawrence to be coming out at halftime or Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram. I don't expect them getting pulled like we do Tennessee or some of these other teams maybe that are either eliminated or locked in. I don't know. You got to look out and make sure, like we just ran down there's literally a list this long of Titans who are already guaranteed not to play tomorrow.
That's no lie.
And you do not want to be like, oh, I'll take a big shot with Treylon Burks and then have Treylon Burks not play at all tomorrow for
Treylon Burks is not your play against that Dallas secondary.
No. I mean, if you want to be sneaky,
he's about the only player that has any prestige left. And that's not a whole lot.
I mean, I would think, and again, we're going to be covering this right after our break here that we're going to take in 2 seconds. But I mean, if you want to be sneaky from a daily standpoint, you could maybe grab like a Nick Westbrook-Akina or something from that game because their backups are going to be the ones playing. And somebody's going to have to get the football. Doesn't mean they're going to have 300, 400, 500 yards total offense, but someone's going to have to get the football. And shutouts are rare, few and far between in the NFL. But let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll listen to our spot from Manscaped here. When we come back on the other side, we will finally get to talking about the Cowboys and the Titans here.
This holiday season, I'll be giving thanks to our friends over at Manscaped. Everyone loves turkey and stuffing, but you'll be looking like dessert with the help of Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have blessed you with the ultimate Thanksgiving dinner topic. Tell your in-laws about your new cutting-edge ball trimmer and gift yourself or the man in your life the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Trim your pumpkins by going to manscaped.com and use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY for free shipping and 20% off. Think your holiday spread is good? It's time to give thanks to the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, or as I like to call it, the perfect package for your package. Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. Think of it as a cornucopia for your balls. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Be thankful this holiday season for the best gift of all from Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.
You can't have a straight face saying that.
No, yeah, no, sorry. You guys, it's a lot shorter commercial than it used to be. So you caught me in the middle of using my Manscaped there, right there. We'll put it right back in the travel bag that he talked about right there. Good stuff. Like any of you older folks out there that remember the Hair Club for Men, I'm not just a spokesman. I'm also a client.
Me too. I've got that. It's
Yeah, right?
about 15 feet away from me right now.
There you have it. I'm not necessarily a Hair Club for Men client. It's getting
No.
all around.
Fortunately
But
for me, this started happening when I was 30 years old.
yeah.
But I've got hair, so
Yep. I got
I'm
more than my
grateful
younger
for
brother,
that.
so I feel good there.
Yeah, oh yeah. My brother's hair has been going like this for a long time. I do not. So
My younger brother, I mean, he's my little brother. He's bigger than me. Doesn't take much when you're
well,
5'5",
mine too. He's 3 years younger than me and bigger than me.
But he's
his
got
hair is
he calls it racing
not
stripes because
bigger than mine.
he doesn't just have like the receding here, but he's got one receding up the middle. So he's kind of got like two little stripes of hair here. And yep, he said he calls it his racing stripes.
Oh, he doesn't have that, fortunately for him.
I know. Fortunately, I don't either right now.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about our three primetime games this week. Remember, this is the last week of a normal schedule. Last week we had all the Saturday games. We've had weird slates for the last couple of weeks here, almost ever since Thanksgiving. But we've got a Thursday night game, we got a Sunday night game, we got a Monday night game. Everything else is on Sunday afternoon.
That's right.
Next week, week 18, for anybody who's still alive, has wonky playoff schedules or whatever else. Next week, everything is on Sunday, and we have no idea who's playing when yet.
Right.
Because
Have
what
no
they like
clue
to do
who
is
the night game is or anything else.
they
so-
want to be able to take all of the games and have the ones that impact each other going on at the same time for maximum drama.
That's right.
which
That's the
you
same thing
understand.
that baseball does on the last day of their regular season.
Which works great. It is awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun to turn on the MLB network or whatever and watch them doing the whip around jump, all literally pitch to pitch between three different stadiums to see who's going to come out on top. And I get that. You don't want to put a team that has some playoff drama coming into Sunday, put them at the 3:30 game and have their day already decided by the time they kick off. You want to be able to shake out who goes where and what does what. But this is a regular this is a regular schedule for this week. So we can count on tomorrow night. We've got the Cowboys 11.5-point favorites, thanks to our friends at Quarter Four, visiting Tennessee.
That number
to play
has
Titans.
been going up throughout the week.
There, and then it may continue to go up right up until
I'm sure it has.
quarter.
As
kickoff
soon as
tomorrow.
they say Derrick Henry is not playing,
Derrick
we're
Henry isn't
talking
playing. Malik Willis is
13
playing.
and a half, maybe.
This has not been a great offense anyway. They've got got literally one of the worst offensive line in the league. You're playing one of the best defenses in the entire league. This could be not pretty. There's an over under
maybe this is
37 and
the
a half.
game that Micah Parsons shows out.
Yeah. Micah Parsons might just run
Micah
home
Parsons,
with
I'm
every single stat that known to man. Over under on this one's 37 and a half right now, according to Quarter Four.
No.
They might you might bet
The
the over because
Cowboys
that
might
game could end
match
up
that.
35-3.
Yes.
You know,
And I'm sure that when the schedulers were sitting down, they were thinking to themselves, wow, Thursday night
it's gonna be a
Cowboys
hell of a game,
and-
dude.
and Titans, that'll be a barn burner. And even a month ago,
Right?
they were probably saying that.
Hell, 2
but
weeks ago. Yeah. 'cause the
Tennessee, like
Titans
we mentioned earlier, has completely off the rail in
Yeah.
every possible way.
no,
and
it is
so-
not pretty in Music City right now.
No, and
Definitely.
so if you're talking fantasy, there's not a single Tennessee player that needs to be anywhere near your lineup.
No,
Anywhere.
that's not even a joke. I mean,
No,
they're coming off
Yeah.
a loss last week to the Texans. The
Right.
Texans could
The
actually afford to win a game and not forfeit their
two-win
number one
Texans.
pick.
all right, 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
So at home, no less.
You've got Malik Willis, who is already only quarterback 48 on the year total points wise, and that's only because he started 3 games now with Ryan Tannehill out. But I have him ranked at quarterback 30 for the week out of 32 teams. And
that's
the only
not
reason,
good.
the only reason I have him there is because Jarrett Stidham is starting in Las Vegas and Carson Wentz is starting for Washington. Other than that, I'd have Willis even lower. Now, Willis did look better last week than he had looked his first couple games, which isn't saying a ton.
Right. Which,
But he did run for 43 yards and a score, which is nice. I mean, he
Right.
basically got you 10
But he
points
didn't
almost
throw
with his
it-
legs.
he only had 99 yards passing.
Only had 99 yards
Okay.
passing. They have really been reluctant to
I
turn
could go
him
out the
loose.
door right now and get together a team that would have more than 99 yards passing.
Throw the ball from here to those mountains, man, and probably
So, and he had 2
Close.
interceptions. So
Yes.
we're talking bleak.
they
all right.
have done a lot to try and limit his chances
Which is-
passing.
Which they should, and I understand.
And that it's frustrating though, because I mean, you're talking about a team that they've got Ryan Tannehill, who's like our age,
Yes.
and it's not going to be around forever. You drafted Willis with the hopes that he could be your guy in the future. You'd like to see what you have out of him, and you can't see what you have out of him if you keep limiting him from throwing in games. But
Well,
we
you're
just
not
said
going to
they're
see what you
fighting
have
for
in him
playoffs.
against that Dallas pass
No.
rush either.
And
So-
you have to try and win. You have to win. You have to win football games here. You are in a playoff fight for your lives. Now we talked about Sunday. They're or tomorrow night. They're not fighting for their playoff lives, but
But you
the
want to
last
see
2 weeks-
some life. Some.
yeah, if he's going
Some
to have to
life.
start week 18,
And if you're starting running back, and his name is Hassan Haskins,
Haskins, yep, from
Okay.
Michigan.
that is not what you
No.
want. Okay.
No.
Now,
no.
I had never, apparently you heard of him before because you knew he went to Michigan and all that. I had never heard of this guy until today.
Big Badger fan.
Okay.
I remember him running over us too. So,
Okay.
in the
So,
Big
but
Ten.
if you look at this, for the entire 2022 season, he has a total of 35 fantasy points.
Yeah, no. Well, they haven't.
Okay.
He's been a healthy scratch for a lot of the season. They actually ended up. Now, I was excited when they drafted him, and in Dynasty, I still like Hassan Haskins because he is a
Yeah,
big,
that-
bruising, Derrick Henry light, very light type runner. Obviously, Derrick Henry is a monster, and he's actually got the breakaway speed in addition to being a complete hammer of the
And he
ground.
was catching passes this year, too.
Right.
So,
But Hassan Haskins is a big bruising running back as well. But they had been giving, this is where the whole thing, all the karma that is this fantasy season coming together right now and microcosm and showing how much it sucks. Dalton Hilliard actually had been fairly effective as the backup for Derrick Henry this season.
right.
He's obviously on IR. He's not available. You
Right.
got to go to one of the 2 rookies, Julius Chestnut or Hassan Haskins. Now, between
Right.
the 2 of them, I like Haskins better than Chestnut, but I still don't like
Right.
either one of them better than other
No,
options that you likely have out there. I'm not starting
They're
any of
saying
them in
that
this league.
Haskins is going to get 9 fantasy points. I think that's they're favoring that just a little bit because the Cowboys are
might,
number
yeah.
2 in the entire NFL against fantasy running
They're
backs.
very good
2.
against fantasy running backs. And the problem is
Not so good. Well, yeah.
Haskins does not catch pass. He has not caught passes.
No.
He'd have to literally set
No.
a career high in pass catches to reach
Okay.
10 points,
So let me,
especially if he's
yeah.
not reaching the end zone.
Well, he's caught 2 passes the last 2 weeks, but before that, he had 3 on the season.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're just not. Yeah, I don't want anybody
This
in that
looks
on that team.
absolutely ugly in every possible way.
I am not starting any of their running backs. I'm not starting
No.
Willis unless you
No,
absolutely
don't start Willis
had to
and
in a
don't
two-week
start our
football
favorite
back.
guy, Mr. Okonkwo.
Conquo. I have
Okay.
him ranked at 24, even though I love him to death.
I
He
love him
does
to death
not have-
too. Like I
there's
said
not gonna
last
be a pass
week,
game.
I had to learn how to spell and pronounce that. But having done that, he went out and caught 1 pass last week. 1.
Right. And Hooper for that
So-
matter only had a pair. But you're talking about a terrible
So
matchup
he
against
dragged down my
Cowboys to begin
entire,
with.
article last week.
Backup quarterback who they don't want throwing, period. And they're probably sitting anybody of any substance on their offense. So it's not like whoever plays tight end for them. I mean, Jeff Swaim actually might end up getting a lot of targets in this game because I don't think they're going to want to chance Hooper or Okonkwo getting injured. So, I mean, yeah, I'm staying away from literally the entire Titans
Plus
team
Dallas
this week.
is number 4 against tight end, so
Right.
there's no winner there. And
But
so
now you want to look on the other half of things, though.
the other half, you
It's
need
a
to
week
start
your Cowboys.
if you have any Cowboys, and with the possible exception of Pollard because he's questionable.
Unfortunately,
But,
that's where we're
yeah.
going with this.
But if you've got Zeke, you want to start him. Let's see, he's got 11 touchdowns, so he's back to being a touchdown guy. And he's had. I wrote it down. He has eight straight games
with a score.
touchdown. 8.
Yeah.
So Zeke is a must go. Dak is a must go. Your wide
Right.
receivers are a must go, whether it's Gallup or Lamb. They're
Dalton
28th
Schultz,
against
their
tight
tight
end,
end.
so Schultz is a must go.
Now
So-
I have Prescott ranked as quarterback 2 this week. I have him a little higher than the rest of the industry, but I have him ranked as
If he
quarterback
stopped
2.
turning the ball over, he might be number 1.
Yeah. I think they can eat it up this week. Now Pollard, I have ranked way down at 37 because I'm not sure he plays and they're not sure he
That's
plays.
right.
I
With that
have not
side,
seen yet if he
he only
practiced
had 9 carries for 19 yards, and
today. He did
and they
not
put
practice
40
all week.
points on the board, so that's not looking good for Tony Pollard.
He has not practiced all week. I did not see if he practiced today.
No,
but
if he hasn't
didn't-
practiced, then cancel Christmas. Well, we're past Christmas, so maybe New Year's.
And it sucks because this is championship weekend, and Tony Pollard
Right.
is running back 6
He's
on the
one of
year.
those guys that has kept you in the fight.
And that's the frustrating
the
thing
season.
about fantasy injuries is that the guys
That's right.
at this point, the guys who got you here,
That's right, and a lot of these
In a lot of
guys
cases
have
are no
tough
longer available
matchups
to you.
this week too.
yeah.
That are healthy even. So
But
you've got
I like it-
decisions
I like
to make this fantasy championship weekend. You do.
I like Zeke. I have Zeke as a borderline RB1 this week. I've got him at running
No,
back 12.
Zeke,
because
you
with-
got to start him. You got to
with
start
Pollard- if
Lamb. You
Pollard
got to
is out-
start Gallup.
Or if
So-
Pollard is injured. Plus, if this game goes the way we all think it'll go, and the Cowboys are crushing them, they're not going to want to put even if Pollard can play and does play a little bit, if they jump out to the lead,
Yeah,
they
there's
should
nothing
jump
to
out
gain
to.
by playing him because they're not
No,
going to win the
take him
division
to
as much as
flip
they
out and
might
let him
like
sit.
to think they will.
No. But I agree. You're starting Prescott, you're starting Elliott, you're starting Lamb. I've got him at wide receiver 4. I've got Michael Gallup down more around a wide receiver 5 flex play.
Yeah,
this
he's
week.
down. But when you look
But-
at this, the wide receivers, Tennessee is dead last.
Yes. Yep. Nope. They
So-
give up a ton of points to opposing wide
Ton of
receivers.
points, the wide receivers.
CeeDee Lamb should have a field day. Gallup could find himself in the end zone again. He did last week,
Right? That's 3
Um,
TDs from the 2 of them right there.
right? I've got Dalton Schultz at tight end number 2 this week because
He's
I
been
think because it's a good
inconsistent,
matchup.
as we know this year, but
It's a good matchup.
it's a great matchup. So
I've got Maher as the number 2 kicker this week ranked. I've got
got
the
him
Dallas
right
defense
here.
as the number
Yay,
2 defense.
Yay, me. I've got him.
I've got him in about
And
5
he,
different leagues.
Yeah, and he had
Him
was
and Myers.
unbelievable. He had like 16 fantasy points. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Last
he had a
week,
great
he
week last
had,
week. 4
I was
field
wrong.
goals.
He had 26.
He had 2.
If you get 26 points from your kicker, your lineup is in pretty good shape.
He was perfect on 4 field goal tries, including 2 of them over 40, which in some leagues gets you extra points. And he was perfect on 4 out of 4 on point after touchdowns. So I mean, the guy, he had a great week last week. He's had a couple of those games this year. He's the overall kicker 1 right now in fantasy. I've got him at the kicker 2.
Fortunately for me, he's in my lineup.
Yeah, you're starting those guys. I don't know that I would necessarily bet the over, but to be dead honest with you, the way this game looks like it might shake out, the Cowboys themselves might break the over on 37.5. So, I mean, would it shock anybody if they hit the end zone 5-6 times and kicked a field goal or 2 against
No.
the way Tennessee's
It
been
wouldn't
playing?
shock me.
No, not at all. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Sunday night game real
So,
quick. Steelers
there we have it.
visiting the Ravens. Big rivalry matchup here. Steelers
That's right.
still alive for the playoffs. Ravens are in the playoffs. Steelers are trying to win out. And if they can win out, even if they miss the playoffs, they will continue Mike Tomlin's string of never having had a losing season. Right now, they've got 8 losses.
Which
one
is
more
an
loss.
amazing thing considering what has happened to that team and their quarterback and everything else this year.
Oh, they've had. I mean, he's one of the longest tenured head coaches in the game right now.
That's right. And so
he's been on that team forever. They've been through
Pittsburgh
ups and
needs to
downs.
back up a Brinks truck and just park it at Mike Tomlin's house.
Just absolutely amazing. Good for them for fighting through it right now. But
Yes.
But the Ravens are 3-point favorites at home according to quarter 4, over under 35.5. Steelers coming off a quote unquote big win over Las Vegas 13-10. But I mean, just hey, a win is a win, and this time of year when you need them and you get them, you're happy with it.
That's right.
Ravens coming off similarly a big quote unquote win over the lowly Falcons, but again, a win is a win. Ravens find themselves in. Ravens are still alive for the division, as much as I don't see it happening.
No, not with the Bengals.
No.
Although
However,
the Bengals,
we will talk about the Bengals later because they have to play Buffalo.
They've got the biggest game of the weekend or Monday, however you want to count that.
Oh, Monday.
The
That's a
biggest
hell of a
game
finish
of the entire week is the Bengals and Buffalo Bills.
That's going to be good. But right now we've got a rivalry game with the Steelers traveling to Baltimore, face the Ravens. We just talked about the quarterback situations. Pickett is their starter.
He's looking
Unless he gets
better. You
hurt.
talk about looking better, at least.
He
And
has
so
looked better. He threw a touchdown last week. And,
that's right.
I mean, he's been limiting the damage.
Right.
The guy I'm excited about Pittsburgh wise is Najee Harris. The last month or so, we've started to actually see. Now, listen, Najee Harris has not been good.
He hasn't been the top, first round draft pick.
I drafted him late in the first round in a lot of drafts because I thought he was going to get the volume that we finally saw him get last week. This is the guy with 9 targets in the game and with 16 rushes. This is the guy that I thought we were getting when I drafted him late in the first round and suggested him as such. The 17, 18, 20 carries per game, 6, 7, 9 targets per game kind of thing. That's the guy that I was hoping we got. His rushing average is a little bit worse than last season. He averaged only 3.9 yards a rush last
season too. So
yeah, right. We knew he wasn't efficient, but the problem he hasn't been worse than last year.
Right.
He just hasn't gotten the volume.
Nope.
And that is not necessarily Najee Harris's fault. That's Matt Canada's play calling and a function of their quarterback situation and everything else. But Harris, 9 targets last week, caught 6 of them and for 42 yards. So he got you 10 points before he even rushed the ball. And he came away with another 53. So he got you 15.5 points essentially.
Right.
Which is good. I mean, that's
the only thing that gives me pause about that is Baltimore's defensive
damn good against
strength
the run. They're damn good
against the run. So
they are.
If you've got Harris, I don't see how you could have a better option.
Right. You probably drafted him, and you drafted him as a top 2 option on your team.
Plus, he's played well, as you mentioned, of late.
Late, they've been giving him the ball more. He's played well as Najee Harris plays. He's still not he's still not the superstar that I think everybody wanted him to be when they drafted him last year. Again, though, how much of this year's struggles, the offensive line has played better than I think anybody thought they would in Pittsburgh. How much of Harris's struggles this year, though, are because of the quarterback situation between Trubisky and his terrible performance and Pickett and his rookie growing pains. If people don't have to worry about the pass, which they don't, Deontay Johnson still hasn't scored a goddamn touchdown, and we're 8 minutes from the end of the season.
Right.
He's got like the 6th most targets in the league or something like that, and can't find the end zone.
If you have him, then you'd have to argue why you wouldn't have him in your starting lineup.
Yeah, no. Johnson, Johnson's he's a good receiver. He's still getting the looks. He's just
over the last,
the
let's see, 4 weeks, he has 11, 14, 19, 11 fantasy points.
Yes.
So that's a pretty good floor to have.
And he's getting just about that many targets every flipping game. But and touchdowns.
So,
you got to think there's going to be positive regression to the game at some point.
When you look at it, Baltimore's one of their weaknesses is against wide receivers.
Right. That's the best matchup.
That's the positive
matchup in the whole game from the Steelers standpoint is their wide receivers against Baltimore's secondary, because Deontay Johnson and George Pickens has shown he's a legitimate receiver in this league too.
Yeah, if Pickens, because he had 16 fantasy points of his own last week.
He caught every target he
against
saw last
Atlanta,
week.
so maybe you need to consider that a little bit. But if he can get some, get some guys that have to worry about him, then Johnson, and he'll have even more ground that he can, be open.
Now you mentioned the Ravens defense. Ravens are good defense. They're the number 5 fantasy defense right now, and they are good. They are a terrible matchup, I should say, all across the board, except for, like we just mentioned, against wide receivers. But so I've got Pickett. I've only got him at quarterback 26. I've got Harris as a running back 2 this week, RB 17 overall, sliding him back a little bit from where I normally probably would have him because of the matchup. I do have Johnson as a flex option. Johnson and Pickens both I have basically as flex options this week.
Seeing as how they
it's
play Sunday night, you definitely want to have him in your flex spot.
Pat Freiermuth, despite his struggles 2 weeks ago, coming off a good game where he caught 7 out of 8 balls for 66 yards, didn't find the end zone, but he's still tight end 6 on the year.
Right.
It's a tight end terrible year,
as you mentioned. So
I still have
he's getting the look.
this week. I still have Freiermuth as a starter. I've got him ranked at number 10. I'm not
even
playing
though Baltimore
Boswell.
is middle of the road against tight end.
I would not be playing Boswell this week.
No.
The Steelers defense, you could do worse for a streamer. They're not a great defense in
Yeah,
terms
you've
of.
got to have a better option, I would say, than going up against Baltimore on the road.
Yeah, but
if
Tyler
you don't,
Huntley's playing,
right?
Tyler Huntley is not.
Right. Yeah,
he has not looked. He's not Lamar for damn sure.
No, well,
plus they're missing Devin Duvernay and Rashad Bateman, so they're down to their third, fourth,
so
and
they don't have any
18th
wide
string
receivers. They've got some running
Sammy
backs
Watkins
over there,
for
Dobbins and all that.
So I mean, they're usable as a streamer. I hope you can find something better on Fantasy Championship weekend. I do have them ranked at 16 though, so if you're in a deep league, I've got them ranked as a streamable starter. Hopefully you're not scraping that bottom of that barrel, but
right.
Other side of the field, the Ravens, like we just said, Huntley's going to be playing for Jackson.
Right.
This is a game where
Steelers, their weakness is against wide receivers, but Baltimore don't have the players to take advantage.
They literally don't have. Yeah, they literally do not have anybody who can play wide out right now. Their three strongest offensive players are their tight end and their 2 running backs, Dobbins and Edwards. Right. Edwards coming off a 99-yard day last week on only 11 rushes.
Yeah, so they're both startable options.
Yeah, Dobbins and Edwards both. I like Dobbins a little better. I've got Dobbins actually ranked as an RB2 at running back 20. I've got Edwards more of a flex option at 42.
Even though neither one of them are involved in the passing game. So
no, literally there was one target and Dobbins couldn't catch it between the two of them. But I've got Huntley as a low quarterback 2 in a 2 quarterback league. I hope you're not having to start him, even if you
hopefully not.
Had Jackson we just said, hey, I would rather start Brock Purdy than Tyler Huntley this week for damn sure. Andrews, you're starting. Don't overthink it. He's still the 2nd or 3rd best tight end in football. He's tight end 3 on the season, even though he has not had the year he is capable of.
He's not been Andrews this year.
Justin Tucker, you're starting at kicker if you've got him. Don't be getting cute and trying to drop him because you think that Riley Patterson's going to have a big day or some stupid shit like that. It's Justin Tucker. He's the best kicker on the planet. He's the best kicker in the history of the planet. So start him if you got him. And Baltimore's defense, you fire that thing up all day long against the Steelers. They're already the number 5 defense in the league. I've got them ranked at number 5 this week. I think it's a big week for the Baltimore defense. So, that's probably the least exciting of the 3 matchups, to be honest with you. Tomorrow night's not a great matchup with the Titans being down so far, but you're going to get some fireworks, I think, from the Cowboys. This Steelers-Ravens game at 35.5 for an over-under, I would be, honest to gosh, tempted to take the under on that. I just don't think it's going to be that big a matchup on Sunday night. I will still be tuning in because what the hell, why wouldn't we?
Right. I mean, AFC North matchups, they're worth tuning into.
Right. I mean, it's still a big rivalry game. You got the drama of the Steelers trying to maintain Tomlin's record, still fighting for their own playoff berth kind of thing. It's a big rivalry anyway. Pittsburgh and Baltimore hate each other. It's always physical. It's always, it's a big game that way. I just don't, it's not going to have the offensive firepower that some of the other games in the league have this week. But let's go ahead and listen to our other favorite sponsor here, True Classic. When we come back on the other side, we're going to look at that Monday night game that we alluded to earlier between the Bills and the Bengals. But first, Here we go.
Football is back, baby, and our new sponsor, True Classic, wants you to look and feel your best even after a couple of brewskis or going full force on your fantasy football draft. Sure, it's football season, but it's also butt to couch season. Luckily, True Classic has the absolute best fitting clothing a man can buy. Snug in the arms and chest with a little extra space in the torso, their t-shirts are designed to keep you cozy and highlight your best assets no matter what you're up to. So if your special someone is upset that you're watching football all day, at least you can look good doing it. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men find the perfect fit at an affordable price. Our listeners get access to the best deal they offer. For a limited time only, get 25% off with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at TrueClassic.com. Almost all men's t-shirts are designed to look good on skinny models with six-packs, but most of us aren't packing anything but a few beers. Fellas, you are wearing the wrong clothes. True Classic tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. It's time to highlight your best attributes with a t-shirt you can always confidently throw on. It's about time to get your fit together, so upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic and get 25% off at TrueClassic.com with promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. That's 25% off at TrueClassic.com with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. If there's one bet you should make this football season, it's on True Classic. True Classic, look good, feel good.
All right, welcome back. And as we've said in the past, we love our True Classic because we love how it makes us look.
That's right. And the wife says, I love it. So case closed.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not from a health standpoint, but from a visual standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint, your True Classic will do a lot to offset this. So
Right. So
right. All right. So yeah, go out there, use the promo code, get yourself some of that. We love them. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for
that's right.
that. Let's move on real quick here. Let's look at this intriguing Monday night matchup between the Bills and the Bengals. Buffalo traveling to Cincinnati as 2-point favorites actually in this game, which I find a little interesting, to be dead honest.
Yeah.
With you. An over under of 48.5. So Vegas thinks there's going to be some points in this game. I think they're probably right. But what do you make of that? The Bills being 2-point favorites on a road. So it's essentially a 5-point swing against Cincinnati.
Well, as I was saying, when I was on the show last night, I'll try not to be a homer because, as we all know, this is a Cincinnati household here. But this is one of those games that Thursday night wish they had.
Right.
So, and Buffalo, we all know about their offense, but Cincinnati's defense is solid all the way around. And so I think that you mentioned about the over-under. I think there's going to be some defense in this game. And so I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen here. And, fantasy-wise, you have to start whomever you have in this game, whether it's
right.
Allen or Burrow or Mixon or whomever else. But
you got a couple of defenses that for fantasy purposes, these are not great matchups.
No, it's not a great matchup fantasy-wise for just about any of these guys.
But you've got two of the most explosive offenses in the league, weapons up and down the roster, 3 and 4 deep, actually, at the wide receiver position on both teams. Plus, you've got two of the hottest quarterbacks in the game right now in Allen and Burrow.
Even though the defenses are especially good against quarterbacks.
Yes.
And so
it's a terrible matchup that way, but you're not, again.
It is. And you have to wonder, you're up there in the Midwest a lot closer to this game than I am. But if there's any kind of winner you have to factor in, I don't know if there is or not.
Yeah, but, I'm not sure what Cincinnati's looking like right now, but even so, Josh Allen's QB2. Josh Allen runs
for
better
a reason.
than just about any quarterback in the league. He's 8.5 feet tall, weighs 700 pounds. He's built like a freaking brick house. You know what I'm talking about. So even if weather is a factor, he ran for 41 yards and a touchdown last week. He got you 10 points before he even unleashed the two touchdown throws that he had.
It can't be any worse than it was in Chicago with the when they were playing on an ice
Right?
rink,
And it's not that
you know-
it's not the New England game from last year where they threw like 5 combined passes or whatever between the two teams with the wind.
right.
And
So-
Joe Burrow has been hotter than just about any quarterback in the league over the last
He
month.
has been, and
So
I wrote-
you're not overthinking it. Play them both.
no, I wrote that down too. Let's see, he has 11 TDs in his last 4 games.
Right? I mean,
11.
it's terrible matchups if you're just looking at matchups on paper and who gives up the most points to opposing fantasy quarterbacks. But those are only one piece of the puzzle. I take those into effect when I do my rankings, and I
Right.
still have both Allen and Burrow as top starting options. And I'm not telling anybody anything anybody doesn't know. I've got Allen downgraded to a QB4 this week. I've got Burrow downgraded to QB7, but I still have them both as surefire, can't miss, do not overthink it, do not hesitate.
Right.
Starting options. You've got to have them
So,
both.
yep, you do. And when you're talking about the one weakness on the Buffalo side of it is against wide receivers.
Yes.
So
And you've got maybe
you've
the
gotta
best
fire
3
up
deep depth chart in the league in
That's right.
Cincinnati's receivers. Between Jamar
So-
Chase, T. Higgins, who are both top 10 options right now at
Yep.
running at
and
wide receiver, and Tyler
Yep.
Boyd, who we've seen do it before.
right. So the only one on the Cincinnati side that, because they're talking about Hurst may play, they probably will play, but I'm not trusting him
No,
whatsoever.
I'm not either. I don't have him
in
or
this game.
Wilcox. And Wilcox is coming off a decent game. He caught all six targets for only 35 yards, but he caught every target. Wilcox has played, he's filled in admirably
Right.
for Hayden Hurst.
And so the problem is that Buffalo, they're number 3
Yes.
against tight ends. So leave the Cincinnati tight ends
No.
on the sideline.
Don't chase touchdowns and think that you're going to get cute and start Trent Irwin over Devontae
No.
Adams.
Please
or
don't let
whatever.
that be true. No.
Great story. Love the guy. Wish him nothing but the best in this league. I hope we see him play for a long time. He's in the wrong wide receiver room to be getting 2 touchdowns every week.
No.
He's in the right receiver room to get 2 touchdowns every week, but he is 4th or 5th in that pecking order. So he's not going to be the one to get the 2 touchdowns every week. It's going to be the Chase, Higgins, and occasionally Boyd show.
And it,
But I'm not
when you look
starting
at this-
Wilcox either. You're Wilcox or
Chase,
Hurst.
11 targets.
Yeah.
Caught 8 balls.
Yep.
And then you got Higgins had 9 targets, caught 8 balls. All right.
Higgins
And
had a
so
day. Higgins had a day last week.
so either one of those two guys,
No.
you've got them, fire them, even though you're looking at
Fire
it
up
and you see
everybody
the
in
little
this
red, when you look at it on your lineup and the little
Yeah.
red marks
Little
saying
questionable
Buffalo
or what-
defense,
Yep. No.
Yeah, don't pay any attention to that whatsoever. Get him in your lineup.
I've got Singletary for the Bills. I've got him as a low
Singletary,
RB2 or flex option. I've got him
I
I've got him as playable, especially now. Hey, when you talk about who's resting, who's injured, who's out, whatever, I've got Singletary as a low RB2 or flex option. You don't have to have us tell you to start Stephon Diggs. You don't have to
even
have us tell
though-
you to start. Yeah.
We could talk about Stephon Diggs. What happened to him last week?
Yeah, he kind of disappeared. He caught 2.
He disappeared
passes.
at the worst possible time. And like I was mentioning about Dale earlier, he had him. And so that kind of waterlogged him. So he only had 2 catches.
And Diggs did what he could do, but when you only get targeted twice, that's
Right.
the issue. But you're starting him again. Don't overthink it.
You're
starting the wide
you're
receiver.
starting him.
You're starting the number
And,
3 wide receiver in a whole
James Cook is a guy that I think's got value. And
game. Oh yeah, I've got him as a flex option this week. I like
Right.
Cook as a flex option this week. Had 99 yards rushing last week. But Singletary
hopefully,
had
if you're in the
106.
league like mine and Cam Akers is available, go get him. And
Right.
because he's
Right.
got the matchup, he's coming off a 3 touchdown game, and he's got the matchup this week.
Right again. I mean, who would have thunk it at the beginning of the year that
Right.
Cam Akers might end up
He
being
was
a
the
league
guy
winner
that
for
you
you.
absolutely wanted to take in the back and lock him up in the outhouse
Right. No,
and have no key.
no, toss him
But
out. But
Since he's come back to them, yeah, he's 3 touchdowns.
and
Right.
I mean, their offensive line still blows in Los Angeles, but
Absolutely, but they're playing
They
the
don't have
Chargers,
Cooper
and that
Kupp.
is a matchup that you can take advantage of.
They don't have Cooper Kupp. They don't have Allen
No.
Robinson. They don't have Ben
No,
Skoranek.
they don't have
They don't
anything
have
at
Matt
wide receiver.
Stafford.
They have
Their
nothing.
entire offense. I mean, it's kind of simultaneous. We're Schrodinger's offense here. You'd think that teams wouldn't have to worry about the pass anymore, so they could key on the run and shut down Akers. But from the Rams standpoint, because they don't have any weapons left to throw to, even with as well, and I'm dead serious when I say that, as well as Baker Mayfield has played in 3 weeks with the team, you would think that Los Angeles would need to lean on that run game and lean on Akers a little bit. So you've got the situation where they probably are using Akers more than they would maybe like to or would have liked to at this point in the season. And then you've got teams that are looking to shut him down, but yet, like you said, he came out last week, he had 3 touchdowns. I agree with you. I'd like Cam Akers over a lot of guys.
So let's not, lose. He's not going to get 3 touchdowns this week.
No.
Let's not lose any kind of perspective like that. And the Rams are not going to score 51 points. Okay?
But I agree with you. I would like him over maybe Singletary or Cook probably in this game.
Right.
Other side of the field, you're starting Mixon. Mixon I've got as a running back 1.
That's
You're
right.
starting
Mixon.
Burrow. You're starting Chase and Higgins. Boyd I have as a low-end flex
I
option.
don't know. Hopefully you've got something better on your bench than Boyd.
Right. I mean,
Simply
like
because
the
of
dude
the
as a
2
football player.
receivers that are ahead of him.
Right.
You can't throw 3 footballs. So.
I am not starting the Bengals defense in this game. They're not great.
No,
anyway. I have the Bills
even though they're
downgraded.
a solid defense, and Buffalo's a solid defense.
Buffalo's
too,
a great defense, and they're a good fantasy.
You don't want anything to do with either defense.
Buffalo's a 6th ranked defense in fantasy right now. I've got them downgraded to 14 only because they're facing the crazy offense in the Bengals at home, but they're still usable offense. I mean, defense. If you did not have to go out and try to pick up Jacksonville or some other trendy streamer of the week. If you have Buffalo as your defense, continue to play them. Continue. To play
hopefully,
them
if you're like me, then you got Kansas City's defense, and you're feeling pretty solid.
Yeah, well,
going up against Houston, that's about as solid as it comes.
Yeah, well, okay, well, so I think that's going to do it for us. To be honest with you, we covered our 3 games. We covered the three primetime games.
Denver, I'm sorry, they're playing. That's even better matchup for the Chiefs. Denver.
Yeah, we won't talk about that mess cluster.
That's what I'm saying. And Wilson,
Nathaniel Hackett on the way out.
Yeah, please stop. Embarrassing me, please.
Yeah.
You'll notice that there's no Wilson jersey on me at this point.
Right. Hey, speaking of jerseys, now listen, I took some good-natured heat, but heat nonetheless from Jared over at the corner booth the other night.
Yeah,
in the meeting.
I can imagine that you did.
Yeah, he's like, I've never seen Chase not in that Bart Starr jersey. Well, listen, here's the deal. I need to diversify the jersey. I need to diversify the jersey inventory. But what I want to do is I want to get legends from the teams that I buy them from. And
Okay.
Here's the thing. I know Bart Starr ain't going to be traded next year and play for someone else. I don't necessarily know that about Aaron Rodgers. I don't necessarily know that about a lot of guys in this league, right?
What a great point that is, because I've got 3 jerseys in my closet right now that say Wilson Seahawks.
Right, yeah, right.
And so even though my last name's Wilson, I can't be wearing that in public.
I love, there's a lot of guys in this game right now that I love, and I love a lot of guys on the Packers team. I'm glad I don't have a Devontae Adams jersey sitting around gathering dust right now.
That's right, because it's worth about $1.98 right now.
But the other thing that I want to do is, like, if I get a Legends jersey, I want it to be for the team that dude is associated with the most. I'm not going to get, say, for instance, I don't want a Joe Montana Kansas City Chiefs jersey. I want a Montana 49ers jersey.
It's just like Jerry Rice playing for the Seahawks.
Exactly. I don't want a Rice. I don't even want a Rice Raiders jersey. I want if I get a Rice jersey, I want it to be 49ers. Randy Moss, I know he did a hell of a lot in New England, but if I were ever to get a Moss jersey, which sounds weird as a Packer fan,
you would think that you'd rather put your head through a buzzsaw than have a Randy Moss jersey.
If I were to get a Viking jersey, and if it were, I would want it to probably be, I want it to be one of their legends first off. But if I were to get a Moss jersey, I wouldn't want a Moss Oakland jersey or New England jersey. I would want a Moss Minnesota jersey. You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to look for that across the league and guys that I like. And I like it to be like legends or good players who are associated with that team. I don't want to be going out and getting an Emmitt Smith Cardinals jersey. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
If I buy a Cowboys jersey, it might be Emmitt Smith, but I'm not. But
I
I'm not
can't
gonna
imagine you having a Cowboys jersey.
No.
So.
Well, no. But I'm saying, if I diversify and if I
Putting your
pick up
face
other
through a
players
plate glass
across the
window
league,
makes more sense than that.
That's what I want. That's what I would like. Is I'd like to see, I'd like to get people's opinion, input. So if you want to hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Twitter. Everybody, let me know whose jersey should I buy from your team, legendary wise, and why. And
Steve
also
Largent
home or
from
away.
the Seattle Seahawks. There you go.
Who?
That's my input.
Largent would be a great choice for the Seahawks.
Right.
Now,
he's a forgotten receiver, but he's in the Hall of Fame and deservedly so.
Played with
the
best uniforms of their era.
The first pick that Seattle made in their expansion draft.
Yeah.
So you talk about hitting it out of the park.
Catching passes from Dave Craig. Good
yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
I would wear a Largent jersey.
Don't forget Jim Zorn.
It's true. Jim Zorn. I would wear a Steve Largent jersey. Now, would you go with the blue home jersey? Or would you go with the white away jersey?
You got to go with the blue one.
Has to be the lighter green.
Absolutely.
And the silver.
I agree.
They need to bring the silver back in Seattle because the generic indoor arena league. Maybe you like them. I don't like their jerseys. I don't like
the green or whatever yellow or whatever crap
green,
that is
chartreuse
that blinds you from space. No, I don't like those either.
No, I'm kind of traditional, and I know we're over time.
Too.
We're getting off of fantasy here, but
I'm sorry.
I like how the Packers, for instance,
it's a classic jersey.
I like how the Packers, and they've had some variations of the stripes here or whatever, but for the most part, the Packers always wear the yellow pants, and then road whites, home green, but the yellow pants carry through with everything. The Raiders, silver pants.
Yeah. Even though I absolutely despise the Raiders.
I do too, but it's a classic look, and it's a good look.
It is.
And I like the idea of the silver pants with the white jerseys, silver pants with the black jerseys. I like the same thing for New Orleans. I would like the gold pants. I'd like the old gold pants, the old ones. I would like that with the white road jersey and the black home jersey. I like the off-color pants that you can wear all along and then just switch the top up left and right. I like that look the best. I'm not the biggest fan of the all white road look or the monochrome color rush home look that some teams do.
Right.
If I were the like with the Falcons, I like the Falcons better with like say silver pants or white pants or something like that. When the black tops, I like the contrast between the pants and but that's something for Paul Lucas and I to discuss at some point down the line if I can ever touch base with the UniWatch blog. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. Good luck to everybody on your fantasy championship weekend. Kevin, what do you got going on right now that can help us win this weekend?
Well, we know today's Wednesday, so most waivers went through. But if you happen to have Derrick Henry and he's going down for the count, get over there to the Belly Up Fantasy website right now.
See who you
and
can
check out my article, the Fantasy Football Championship Waivers Edition. Because there are some running backs, if you're not in one of those, 20 leagues or whatever. If you're in a 12 team or 10, there are some running backs that have value. So get over there, check that out. And hopefully you're not looking for a tight end because, as I said in my article, let's be honest, there just are none. All right, so you might be better off if you leave your position blank. Unless you have somebody, I've got Evan Ingram, and so I'm feeling pretty solid there, and so hopefully you don't need a tight end. So my article is probably not going to help you a whole lot if you need a tight end, but if you need anything else, you need a quarterback, you need a receiver, you need a running back, get over there, check that out.
You
can always go to Twitter, Kevin62 WILSEA, and so drop me a line. As I mentioned earlier, now that we're shutting down, get over there, check out the Belly Up Football Super Show that was on last night. It's 2 hours of just TV gold. So
There you
check
have
that
it.
out.
All right. As always, you can find me, STT Chase FFB, on the Twitter machine. I will be, like I said, offering my thoughts on, quarterback changes or starts and sits, and whoever is getting started and sitted in the league right now, the Derrick Henry situation, those kinds of things. So check that out over there. Tomorrow morning, my rankings should be out, as well as an update on our charity league, the Belly Up Bowl, as we're winding down to the last 2 weeks
Yeah.
of that.
Don't
Best
be
ball
looking
tournament.
for me to be looking too rosy in that one.
Me either, man. Like I said, I took way too many big swings and not enough sure things. But and then I'll also have the Thursday night preview will be up tomorrow, as well as then obviously the Blitz pickup will be coming as well this week, so you can set your lineups for this Sunday and hopefully win yourself a championship. Get over to Belly Up Fantasy Sports. Check all of our columns out there. Start sits. There's medical tent advice from Mr.
That's right.
Mullet himself.
I'm sure that Andrew will come out of his hole, at some
That's right.
point and get that rolling
Check us out here on Sunday morning again.
at our
any
normal
last
time,
minute move.
Sunday at 11 Eastern, where time begins, and of course 10 o'clock where we are.
10 o'clock where the sane people live.
That's
Let's,
right. The sane people, right? So if you're in the central time zone, sane. All right, so we're good to go here.
Central sane. All right. Until next time, then. Until Sunday morning, everybody. Good luck with everything. Slan Java. We will see you then.
All right.
Thanks, Kevin.
See ya.